I would absolutely encourage non-Indigenous people to learn Anishinaabemowin, but any Indigenous language, and particularly if you are in the land that nation inhabits. I think it's a wonderful thing for people to learn the language of their friends and neighbors, and it gives you a great deal of insight into the worldview, and it may change your very...
So I also really love that message that creator is putting out there. However, the person that is stitching them is using that video as an example to his followers as to why deaf people are bad for trying to gatekeep sign language and not letting hearing people learn sign language. Here's the thing though, there are about, 0 deaf people who have said that they don't want hearing people to learn sign language. That is not the deaf community's issue with this creator and creators like them. So say I do what that creator wants me to do. I want to learn Anishinaabemowin. I want to learn more about the language and culture, and I do. That's great, right? Would it be appropriate for me to come on TikTok and sing Indigenous songs and teach Indigenous words? If Indigenous creators asked me not to do that and I blocked them, do you think that would be appropriate? What if I then started making and selling Indigenous merchandise? Would that be appropriate? What if I start teaching a class about Anishinaabemowin because I learned it and I just love the language and culture so much that I want to share it with other people? Is that appropriate for me to do? So most people, the vast majority of people are going to be like, obviously not, because we understand the history of Indigenous people worldwide, and we know that I'm not the right person to do those things. An Indigenous person is. Now, I am not comparing the oppression of Indigenous people with the oppression of deaf people. They're vastly different communities. However, there are some parallels. The deaf community has faced abuse and language deprivation at the hands of hearing people who've tried to decide their fate for such a long time. From the Milan Conference of 1880 until the 1960s or 70s, hearing people, one deaf person was there and obviously voted against it, hearing people decided to ban sign language worldwide in favor of oralism. Deaf people that weren't able to learn to speak were institutionalized. My parents don't sign principle like this, they sign principle like this. Can you guess why? Because if they use sign language at their deaf school, they got the strap. So should hearing people learn sign language? Absolutely. Learn sign language. Make a more accessible world for your neighbors, your loved ones, your community. But let deaf people lead in the teaching of that, please. That's all they're asking. That's it.